Good morning, this is Sarah, your imperfect carnivore in the UK. Still very imperfect, of course, but on day 3 now of getting it down. I'm going to create a chart or a calendar at home and tick off all the days that were perfect. I can either try and beat my 6-month straight record, or, as somebody else suggested, and I have thought of it myself and it's a good idea, just a percentage of the whole year. It's me versus me. Am I better than I was in 2017? Am I better than I was in 2019? Am I doing more days than I was last year? Yeah, I think I'm going to. I think I'm going to do a lot of lion days. I think I'm going to do a lot of carnivore days this year. I think I'm going to get to the end of the year still not on any medication. I think I'm going to get to the end of the year still not having any gut problems, brain problems, joint problems. I think I'm still going to have nice blood sugars and a lot of hope for the future. And hope for the future is, I think, the most important thing. And today I want to talk about my imperfect carnivore grandmother. I have mentioned her in videos before, and I did mention her on some of my interviews and lives and things that I've been getting up to. I've had a lot of new people join, so I'm going to tell you who my inspiration is. We had 2 grandmothers, one who was very, very sickly and one who wasn't. Now, before nutrition science came on the scene, nutrition science, isn't that fabulous stuff? You know, it's so trustworthy and we can believe everything we read on the front of the Daily Mail, can't we? Before nutrition science came along, what did people do? They looked, well, I hope they did. I hope people were interested in their ancestors, their parents, their grandparents, their great-grandparents. What kind of health did they have? And what kind of lifestyle habits did they have? That's what I'm interested in. I'm not interested in nutrition science. You can show me any documentary that's vegan-based. You can throw any articles and science from nutritionfacts.org. Oh, the Gregor's dirty dozen, as I call it. Send me some shit from him if you want. And all the other people that wave bits of paper around and wear white coats and pretend to be doctors. I'm interested in what the people are doing. I'm a great observer of people, and I always have been. Nothing greater than sitting in a cafe at the side of the road and watching people go by and wondering things about them. What did your ancestors do? What were your parents doing? What were your grandparents doing? This is what's interesting to me. One of my biggest inspirations in my journey so far has been my super healthy grandmother. Not my mum, because sadly, as you know, if you've seen many of my videos, you'll know that my mum was incredibly sickly all of her life. So I'm going to observe what she did. Also, her mother was incredibly sickly. Now, was it genetics, or were they doing stuff that's ill-advised? That's up to you to decide. But judging by the way the health of the world is going these days, and the way their habits have changed over the last 50 to 100 years, I think it's what people are doing. And what amazes me is that people just believe everything they see. Don't, or read, you know, on the front of a newspaper. Look at what your friends and your family and your grandparents. Pick your most healthy grandparent and pick your least healthy grandparent. What were they doing? What were they eating specifically? That's how I live. That's how I go. And my favourite grandmother was called Josephine. Not only was she my favourite, she was the healthiest. She was lovely and she was always happy. But what did she do? She lived a very meaty life. She ate a lot of meat. She was married to a butcher. So I think her health was actually mostly down to luck. But she also made some very clever choices too. She was against the pharmaceutical industry. She was... She never smoked. She only drank on special occasions. Tick, tick, tick. This is what I'm doing. She ate a stack of fatty meat. She never took any notice of all the whole go low fat business of the 80s and 90s. She ignored that. She didn't trust doctors. She refused to go to doctors. She wouldn't take a flu jab. So I'm looking at her thinking, perhaps the best way to be her is just be her. Some of my family members have said that she was just an anomaly. She was just lucky. She was just a genetic freak, an anomaly, an outlier. I don't think so. I don't think so. I think she was the way she was because she ate a stack of fatty meat. She ate a mixed diet though, and this is where I'm coming on to with the imperfect side of the journey. You know, she wasn't a perfect carnivore. She wasn't someone that just ate meat. She did have some sides and some things, but she ate probably every day was 40 to 50%, maybe some days more like 60 to 70%, especially during straight after the war when rationing was still in place. But her husband was a butcher, so they would have been having all the fatty offcuts, all the leftovers that no one you know, could afford to buy or wanted to buy. He would have brought all them home and they would have eaten them. She also did despise the pharmaceutical industry, which I do. She said she would never ever take anything, even a paracetamol for a headache. I think instead of looking at these nutrition science studies that are quite obviously funded and sponsored by the people that are trying to get money out of us, why don't you have a look at your ancestors? If your mum was very sick, what was she doing? My mum's mum, my other grandmother, sadly, she did fall for the low-fat message. She had a lot of healing books in the house that were all very plant-based. She totally trusted doctors and the pharmaceutical industry, and by the time she was in her 80s, she was on multiple medications. You know, and quite happy to be on those medications. No problem at all. You know, we are not suffering in this world from a medication deficiency. We are not. There's something underneath. You know, I saw a brilliant video on, I've seen some fantastic videos on Ozempic recently, and a lot of, you know, reaction videos to Ozempic, and one of them said something along the lines of one of the things I'd hear myself saying: we're not suffering from an Ozempic deficiency. There's something else wrong. Go to the root cause of what's wrong. Stop medicating and pretending that everything's fine. Yes, it is harder to change. Yes, it is less fun to eat just meat than it is to eat all of the things. It is less fun, but how is your body reacting to that? So, I think it's safe to say I live in that woman's shadow. I think about her every single day from a health point of view and her lifestyle point of view, and I always wanted to be like her. And the best way to be like somebody is to actually be like them, and following in their footsteps, mimicking their behaviour, following their beliefs. If they were the healthiest human ever to be seen in your family, what were they doing? Because following in their footsteps is probably a really good step to being like them, in my opinion. Everyone else in the family wanted to be like her, whilst smoking 30 cigarettes a day, eating processed food, drinking alcohol, you know, not being interested in their health whatsoever. You can't follow in the footsteps of a super healthy person if you're not going to try and mimic at least some of their behaviour, is in my opinion. It's quite strong, isn't it? But we've got to uncross those fingers, guys. We've got to start uncrossing those fingers and say, what can I do proactively to make my life better quality? And it's not just about living the longest life possible. It's about making sure that the life that we're living is the most quality it can be, and being able to cope, being able to go on an airplane and fitting into the seat, being able to get out into public and doing stuff, and having the mental confidence and the physical ability to do everything that we want to do. And my grandmother was able to do that, even being an imperfect carnivore. This is one of the reasons I changed my name to Imperfect Carnivore, because I want to be like her. I aspire to be like her. And if I can only get to 93, but with the quality of health that she had, that's going to be okay with me. I don't mind getting to 93 and then falling asleep in my sleep like she did, with no fuss for everyone else. That sounds appealing to me. So, but failing that, we're all going to get to 120 and annoy our kids, aren't we? Well, you do whatever it takes for you to be as healthy and as happy as you can be today. People wave at me when they turn up. Anyway, and eat as much meat as you can would be my advice. don't go vegan would be my other advice. And just thrive and be happy. Take care, and I will see you in my next video. Look out for your ancestors. What did they do? See you later. Bye.